This conference will now be recorded.
Fine. Let me go and open the class notes. Yesterday's class, uh, we discussed about how to log into the apps, how to create a login screen. Let me go and open the class notes. Currently, we're discussing about the user login. In yesterday's class, we discussed about how to log into the apps by using the username and password. With the help of username and password, how to log into the apps, we discussed in yesterday's class. And now in today's session, we'll discuss about how to log into the apps, how to log into the apps using OTP authentication. Suppose think that you forget your username or password, then you are not able to log into the app. Then I want to allow the user to log in to the apps using OTP authentication. So how to go and log into the apps using OTP authentication we'll discuss now in today's session. So log into apps using OTP authentication. Let me go and open the Power Apps. Let me discuss here how to go and work with them, or how to go and create a OTP authentication screen and how to log in it. Let me go to the Power Apps. Let it open. Go to the apps. Let me go and open this app, AV Trainings. Go and click on Edit. Let me edit this. Fine. This is the app currently we are discussing with. Now when we go and click on Get Started, it's going to the screen 2. Now here, when I go and click on this new student registration, it will go and open one form where we can enter the student details, registration student details. We can enter here what user student name, mobile number, registered email ID, what is the username and password, and then go and click on what submit. When I click on the submit button, this data will go and submit to where the data sources. What's the data source I'm taking here? SharePoint is a data source. Let me go to the site called forms. Here I am having one list called registered students. Now here in this list, in yesterday's class, we discussed about how to go and enter the data into the list. When we go and click on the sign up button, and next, once after registration is completed, now we'll go and show the success message. Once after success message, next, if you want to log into the app, directly you can go and click on what login button. When you click on the login, directly will navigate to the login screen, or otherwise go to the first screen, click on get started. From here also you can go and click on what existing student login. When I go and click on this, now it will navigate to the login screen. Now here I can go and enter the username and password. Once after enter the username and password, when I go and click on the login button, it is going to log into the apps. So in yesterday's class I discussed here, on select of this button, we need to go and write some logic here. So this is the logic we are using. Check whatever the username and password you are entering here, whether this username and password is valid or not. So we need to go to the data source. In the data source, we need to check whether those usernames and password exist or not. If it exists, then only go and allow the users to log in to the app. Otherwise, throw an error. So this is logging to the apps using the username and password. Now suppose think that let's say the user forget about the password, or maybe the user forget about the username. Now he is not able to log into the app. If the user wants to log into the app without knowing the username and password, then I want to allow the users to log into the app using OTP authentication. I want to allow the users to log in what using OTP authentication. So let me do one thing. Let me keep it on the top somewhat. Let me select the remaining all the controls. Just to move ahead on the top, just to move to top. Fine. And now see, here I want to keep one button, guys. Login with OTP. So let me go and just select this one itself. Let me do one thing. Select this login button, hover color, it is blue. Let me change it to hover color red. Color dot red. Now when I go and play, now see the hover color is not changing, but when I click on it, it is changing the background color to what? White. Let me keep it as red itself. Let me go and select the button. Pressed color is there. Pressed fill color is what? It is white. Let me keep it as what? Color dot red. And also pressed text color. Let me keep it as red. I want to keep the pressed color as red. Let me keep here color dot red. Pressed color I want to make it as red. Hover color I want to keep it as same white. Now just click, select, save it and click on play. Now see, when I go and click on it, now it lacks as one a button. Now let me do one thing, just copy the same button, copy, paste it here, keep the button here, just increase the width, increase some width. Now I want to change the text here. What's the text I want to change it here is, let me go select the text property. By default is login. Let me change it to uh, login with OTP. I want to change it what? Login with OTP authentication. This is the text I want to keep. Now see, whenever the user click on this login with OTP, it need to go and open the another screen where the user can log in with the apps, log into the apps using OTP authentication. Now on select of this button, by default there is one code I'm writing in SDS class on select of this button. So I'm just copying and pasting this button, right? So just remove it. I want just remove it. Now whenever I go and click on this button, on select of this button, now it lacks as one button. It need to go and open another screen, that is OTP authentication screen. I'm on the OTP authentication screen here is no. I want to go and create that screen now. Now let me do one thing. Select the same screen, select the login screen itself, duplicate the screen, guys. Just go and duplicate the screen, duplicate screen. Now once after duplicating it, now bring this screen to the after login screen, login success screen, move bottom. After login success, I want to keep this screen. Let me rename this screen to what? OTP login. Let me rename it to what? OTP login screen. OTP login screen. Just keep it like this. Now in this screen, I want to do some changes here, guys. Let me remove this control. Select these two controls, move ahead on the top, and in place of this icon, let me keep it here and another icon called mail icon, guys. Go to the insert tab, select the search for the icon called mail, select the icon, keep it here, just increase some size. Let me go and change the color to white. Fine. Now it will looks like one. Here I need to go and enter the email, registered email. So select this control. Let me change the hint to what? Email. Or let me keep here enter email. Or just keep here email. Now here it is a OTP, right? In place of password, let me keep the hint as what? OTP. So just I'm doing some changes here. Now copy the same login button, copy, paste it here, keep this button here. Now I want to change the text of this button, guys. Let me keep the text as send OTP. Let me keep the text as what? Send OTP. Send OTP. Whenever I go and click on this button, it need to go and send one OTP to the user. This is the text I'm keeping. Now see, now once after selecting this button, I need to go and send one email or OTP to that user. So go to the onset property, By default in the onset property, this code is there. Just remove it. Just remove it. Now try to understand, guys. Now, when I go to the login screen, if the user is not able to log in by using the username and password, now when I go and click on this button, login with OTP, it need to go and navigate to which screen? OTP login screen, login with OTP screen. Let me select this button, go to the onset property. Now I want to navigate to which screen? Navigate to which screen? OTP login screen. Just save it, play. When I go and click on this button, login with OTP, now see, it is moving to which screen is login with OTP screen. Now here, the user need to enter the email ID. Once after entering the email ID, if the user go and click on this send OTP, this button need to go and send one OTP to the user. Whatever the OTP the user is receiving, the user need to enter that OTP here. Once after entering the OTP, now the user go and click on what? Login button. Let me remove this login with OTP here. Let me remove here. I don't want to keep this control. This is what my requirement is. Now, in order to go and get this requirement, first of all, go to this, select the send OTP. Now go to the onset property. By default, I'm not writing any logic here. On select of this button, what action I need to go and take? Sending email. What email? OTP. So if you want to send the email, we need to go and take the connector first. What's the connector I want to add it here is Outlook connector, guys. So Outlook is also one connector. Let me select the connector as what? Office 365 Outlook. I want to send the OTP to the user in what email? What is that? Organizational emails. Organizational emails is nothing but OTP, Outlook. Select this Office 365 Outlook. It is also a one connector. Select this one. Click on it. Now see, it is connecting to the Office 365 Outlook. Once after connecting to the data source, now go to the tree view. Select this button. Now on select of this button, what I want to do here is I want to declare one variable here, guys. Declare a variable. The variable name is OTP. Let me go and declare one variable. So I'm going to declare the global variables. I discussed about the variables, right? I'm going to declare one variable, global variable, set global var. What's the OTP name here is global var OTP. What's the variable name? Global var OTP. Now by default for this variable, I'm going to assign the value as blank. I'm going to assign the value as what? Blank. So this variable by default is holding the value as blank. Nothing is there. Next, I want to assign one more value to this. By default is blank. What I will do here is again go and use the set keyword. Set a global var. Now what is the value I'm going to assign to this variable is I'm going to use one function called rand function. So what this rand function will do? This rand function is going to generate one value randomly. So just to close it. Just close it. Now see, add one text control here. Go and add one text control. Keep this text control here. Keep the text control in here. Just reduce some size. Now select the text control. Go to the text property. Remove this text. Let me keep here the variable name global var OTP. Now by default is not displaying any value. Now when I go and click on this send OTP, what is happening? When I go and click on this send OTP, it is going to declare one variable. By default, the variable is blank, and then I'm going to assign one value. What's that value? Random value. Just to save it. Go and click on play. Now see, when I click on play, whenever I go and select this, every time it is going to generate some random value or not? Yes, it is generating. So let me do one thing. Let me do some formattings. Keep it in the semi bold. Increase the size to 24. And let me keep the font color to white. Now see, whenever I go and click on this send OTP, every time it is generating some random number. Now it is generating some decimal values. I don't want to get the decimals. So to overcome this problem, what I'm doing here is I'm going to multiply this rand function with let's say I'm going to multiply with 10 lakhs. I'm going to multiply with 10 lakhs. Whatever the value this rand function is going to give, I want to multiply that value with 10 lakhs. And I save it and I go and click on play. Now see, when I click on it, now it is generating some value, guys. How many digits is there before the decimal point? 6 digits is there. Now I want to generate the 6-digit OTP. Either you can generate the 3-digit OTP, 4-digit, 5-digit, or 6-digit. I'm generating how many digits? 6-digit OTP. And after the decimal point, I'm having some decimals. I don't want to keep the decimals. I want to remove it. Now I want to round the number of decimals. Now what's the function you need to go and use to remove the decimals after the decimal point? Round function. Let me go and use the round function. Round off either int or round. Round is better. Round. I want to round the values. What values? Whatever the values this rand function is going to generate. Now, how many values I want to keep means 0 values I want to keep. It is throwing the error. I think here no need to keep. Yes. Now save it and then go and click on play. Now try to understand, guys. When I click on this button, now see send OTP automatically generating what 16-digit OTP is generating. When I click on it again, every time whenever I click on it, it is going to generate some random OTP. So if you want to generate the six-digit OTP, go and multiply this rand value with 10 lakh. If you want to generate 5 digits, multiply with 1 lakh. When I go and multiply with 1 lakh, now see it is going to generate 5-digit OTP. If you go and keep here only, if you go and multiply this value with 10,000, then it is going to generate OTP with 4 digits. Whatever it is, if you want to keep the OTP as 4 digit, 5 digit, 6 digit, you can keep. Let me go with the 6-digit OTP, guys. I want to go with what? A 6-digit OTP. So I'm going to multiply this rand value with 10 lakh. Now when I go and click on it, now it is generating one OTP here. With the help of rand function, I'm generating one OTP. Now whatever the OTP I'm generating here on select of this button, this OTP I want to send it to the user to log into that app. So how to go and send it? So if you want to send the OTP to the user, go to this button. Now once after generating the OTP, now I'm going to use one function here called uh, Office 365 Outlook. There is one function called Office 365 Outlook send email. This is the function I need to go and use. For Office 365, I added one connector, right? So for this connector, these are the actions you can take. Now, what is the action I want to take here is Office 365 Outlook send email version 2. Select this one. Office 365 Outlook send email. Select this one. Now open brackets. Now see when I go into open brackets, now it is asking us to pass what? To address to whom you want to send the OTP. Let's say which email I am going to enter here. Which email I'm going to enter here. To that email I want to send the OTP. So select this control, copy the name of this control. Now go to the button. Let me enter the to address. To whom you want to send. Which user, whatever the email I'm entering in the email box, that to that email I want to send. Next keep comma. What is the subject you want to keep? Let's say the subject is OTP to login. Let me keep the subject as OTP to login. It is asking us to pass second parameter is what? Subject. What's the subject of that email? OTP to login. Next, keep comma. It is asking us to pass what? Body. Now, what's the body I want to keep here is, let's say, enter this OTP. Enter this OTP. So this is the text I'm keeping. Now I'm going to concatenate this value. So to concatenate, go and use the ampersand. So let me go and use here variable name. What's that variable name? Global var OTP. So whatever the variable holding the value, that value I want to place it here. And then again use the concatenate and then enter this OTP to login. To login. This is the message I want to send. So whenever I go and click on this button, send OTP button, what I want to do? First declare one variable, assign one value to that variable. What's that value? One random number. Whatever the value this variable is holding, that variable value I want to send to the user. So to send the email to the user, I'm using one function here, Office Outlook dot send email. So this email is asking us to pass what first? To address, to whom you want to send the email, which user ID which user is entering the email here, to that user I want to send. Next subject, what is the subject? OTP to login. And next, what is the body? Enter this OTP. Which OTP? Whatever the value this rand function is going to generate, that value I'm entering here. Enter this OTP to login. Now just close this, close it. Now go and click on save. Go and click on save. Now try to understand before going to send the OTP. When I go to the forms, let me go and enter one of the student details here. Let us say I'm entering myself, or let me keep here user 36, or let me keep myself. Let me keep some mobile number, and let me enter the email as user 36. Let me go and select that email. So we need to have the organizational emails here, guys. So I'm going to enter the email ID as valid emails. So just copy it, just copy and enter here. So this is the name. Let me enter the username as Venky123. Password as is the password I'm entering. Now try to understand. I'm going to enter one new student details here. So this email is not possible. These are the dummy emails I'm entering. We need to have the organizational accounts. So this is the organizational account. User 36 at the rate yn60 on microsoft.com. So when I go and enter the email here, to that whatever the email I'm entering here, to that email it is going to send one OTP. Now see, I'm going to enter one user details here. Is there anyone online people? Is there anyone logged in with laptop? Is there anyone logged in with laptop?
Yes, sir.
Yes, all. Who is this?
Yeah.
Arvind. I think you don't have the credentials, right?
No, sir.
Remaining people. Is there anyone logged in with laptop and using the credentials? Whatever the credentials I shared.
Yes,
Just I
sir.
want to check the OTP. Who is this? Viresh. Arvind.
Yes, sir.
Arvind, what is that username you are using? Please keep it in the chat box. Whatever the username you are, user credentials, email ID you are using to log into the Power Apps, keep mentioning that email in the chat box. I will send
Yes,
you
sir.
one
2 minutes.
OTP. Mm, quick. Just send the first one. Up to at the rate it is enough. No need to copy at the rate yn all these things. Before at the rate whatever the name it is there, just mention that one.
So the laptop was stuck, sir. Give me 1 minute.
Remaining people, is there anyone logged in with laptop? No one. How you are understanding in mobile?
Yes, sir. I got it.
Uh, just keep before at the rate whatever the text it is there, just keep it in the chat box. I'll send
Yeah.
one OTP to you.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's Arvind only, sir. Only Arvind. At the rate AB Trainings Hub.
ARVIND.
Yes.
Okay, let me enter ARVIND.
@AB Trainings Hub.
AB Trainings Hub. Fine. Let me enter the details here. Now see, I'm entering the one of the user details. So this user is not able to log in. I'm entering here Arvind @AB Trainings Hub 123 dot Omicron my on Microsoft.com. Now see, Arvind is there in my SharePoint list? No. That email ID is there? No, it is not there. So when I go and click on this send OTP, now it is going to send one OTP to that user. Now Arvind, you can go and please log into your Outlook. Go to this three ellipses on the top, go to the app launcher. Here you are able to see the Outlook. Please open the Outlook. You received one email there. Please let me know.
Yes,
Quick.
sir. This is okay. Okay. So it's working very slow. Shit.
Fine, no problem. I'm logging in here. Now see, I'm logging with Arvind Gates. Now what's the credentials I'm using here? Arvind. Now when I go to the Outlook, now see, he received the email, Outlook email or not? Yes. What is the subject? OTP to login. What's the OTP? This is the OTP. Now see, this user is not there. This user is not there in my registered students list. If the user is not there, then how you can send one OTP to them? To whom I want to send? Students, those who are registered with us. For the registered users only, I want to go and allow them to enter the email. So whatever the email I am entering here, whatever the email I'm going to enter here, that email IDs must and should be there in the SharePoint list. Now I need to go into the validation here. Simply what I'm doing here now, simply just I'm entering some email here. When I click on the send OTP, it is sending the OTP to that user. But that user is there in my registered students list means no. If the user is there in my registered students list, then only I want to go and send the OTP to that user. So I need to go and validate the things here, guys. I need to go and check that user is there in my organization. It is a registered student or not. So what I need to do, I need to go and apply some filter conditions. So let me go and apply the filter condition, guys. If I'm going to use the isEmpty function. In this class we discussed, right? Is not empty. Is not empty. Now it is asking us to pass what? A data source. Let me pass here one more function, that is filter function. Let me pass one more function here. What? Filter function. Filter. What I want to filter? The data. Which data source? Registered students is the data source I want to filter. Now keep comma. In this registered students, there is one column. What's that column? There is one column called email ID column. Now I want to go to this email ID column. So let me pass the column name as what? Select this. If you scroll down here, you are able to see the column name, that is email. Select the email. Now whatever the mail I am entering in the app, that mail I want to check whether it is there in the data source or not. So registered students, go to the email column. Now equals to, now whatever the value I'm entering in this email, in this input control, that value is there in the data source or not, I want to go and check. So let me copy and paste the text control name here, .txt. What I'm doing here, if is empty, is not empty, now go and use the filter condition. What the filter condition will do, it is going to filter the data in the data sources. What's my filter condition? Whatever the email I'm entering in this input control, that email will comes here. Now this email is there in the data source under the email column, Then what I want to do? Then what's my condition, guys? Just to close the condition here, filter condition. So if there is any value, then what I want to do? I want to go and send one OTP. So first what I'm doing here is I'm going to check the email, whatever the email I'm entering here, this email is there in the data source or not. So if it is not empty, not empty means there is some value. When there is some value, whatever the user email you are entering, if that email exists, then this query is going to return, this function is going to return that student details. So if this query is returning some value, this function is returning some value, that means it is not empty. If it is not empty means the user exists. If the user exists, then go and send email to that user. If the email does not exist, then what I want to do? I want to give one notification here, guys. I want to give some notification. Notify. I want to notify to the user. What's the notification? Uh, please enter. Please enter valid email. Please enter the valid email. Now close the. Let me keep here instead of close. I want to keep the error message type, right? What's that message type? Notification type error. Now just close it and then close the if condition. Simple. Nothing is there, guys. Just save it. Click on format. When I click on format, now see, first I'm declaring one variable. Next I'm assigning one value to that variable, random variable. Next, what I'm doing here? So I'm checking whatever the email I'm entering in the app, that email is there in the data source or not. If the email is there in the data source means, that means there is some value is there, that user is registered with us. So that means it is not empty. It is not empty means there is some value is there. If there is some value, then go and send the email to that user. If there is no value, whatever the email you are entering, it is not matching to the registered students emails. If there is no email, registered email, then go and notify one message. What's the notification? Please enter valid email. So just save it and go and click on play. Now try to understand, guys. I'm going to enter here Aravinda at the rate Aravinda at the rate. Just copy it. AB trainings hub. Just copy, paste it here. I'm entering the same Aravind details. Previously, when I click on send OTP, it is sending the OTP. But now see, it is sending the OTP means no. What is telling? Please enter the valid email ID. Why? Because there is no user here. There is no email with Arvind. So what this syntax is doing here is, what this query or what this function is doing here is, on select of this button, it is going to it is going to the data sources. It will check in the data source whatever the email you are entering here, this email will exist in the data source or not. If it exists, then go and send the email to that user. If it does not exist, then go and give one notification. What's that notification? Error message. Please enter the valid email ID. Now see, whatever the email I am entering here, Aravinda, so this user is not there in my registered list. So it is throwing some error message. Please enter the valid email or registered email. So instead of this, if I go and enter the user 36, if I go and enter here what? User 36. Now user 36 is registered student or not? Yes, he is the registered student. When I go with the user 36, now when I go and click on the send OTP, now see, still it is throwing the error. I'm missing here at the rate. Now click on, I'm missing here at the rate, user 36 at the rate AB trainings hub. Now when I go and click on the send OTP, still just remove, go and copy the username here. I think we are using which user? Winky at the rate AB trainings. I think this user is also not there. Let me do one thing, guys. Let me enter the valid user. User 36 is also not there. Which user is there means Winky at the rate AB trainings hub 1234. This is the user logged in. Just copy this user, mention it here. Now there is one user now. What is that user? Venki at the rate AB trainings hub. Now go here. Just enter that username here. What is the user I'm entering? Venki at the rate. This is the registered student now. Now when I go and click on the send OTP, now if I go and open my Outlook, I'm receiving that email here. Let me open the Outlook. When I go and check, just now I received the email. OTP to login. Now see what is the subject I'm keeping there. OTP to login. Now what's the OTP? enter this OTP to login. Now I want to enter this OTP. Now just copy the OTP. Now go to the app. Now when I go and enter the OTP here, when I click on the login button, now I'm able to log in. No, I'm not able to log in here. So why? Because here I'm doing the logic for only what? Just for sending the OTP. So on select of this button, send OTP, what I'm doing here is it is going to check that the user is registered student or not. If he is a registered student, then only it will send the email to that user, OTP email. If he is not registered, it will throw some error message. Now whatever the OTP the user is receiving, that OTP he need to enter here. If they enter the OTP here, now they need to go and click on what? Login button. Now on select of this button, login button, by default there is some text, by default there is some code is there, whatever discussed in this class. Just remove. Now I want to write some logic here, guys. What action I want to take here? Whenever I go and click on this login button, whatever the OTP I'm entering here, this OTP and this OTP must and should be match. Whatever the OTP I'm going to enter here, whatever the OTP I'm entering here, this OTP and whatever the OTP I received here, this OTP must and should be match. If it is matching, then only it will allows you to enter the app. Now I want to go and write one logic here. Go to the OTP, go and select the onset property. Select the onset property. Go to the onset property. Now on select of this button, what I want to do? Sorry, here. Let me go to the login button. Login button. Go to the property called onset property. Now here I want to write one if condition, guys. If whatever the value, if whatever the value ext, what value? Global var OTP. Whatever the value this variable is holding, this variable value must and should be equals to whatever the value I'm going to enter into this input control. Copy the name of this control, go to the login button and mention it here. Dot txt. Now what I'm doing here, whatever the OTP you are generating, if that OTP is equivalent to the OTP you are entering in this input control, if both are matching, then what I want to do? Then I want to allow the user to navigate to login success screen. So I'm going to use what here now? Navigate. Navigate to which screen? Login success screen. Login success screen. Now close it. Suppose if the OTP, the variable is holding and the OTP you are entering here is not matching, then what I want to do? I want to give one notification here. Notify. What's the notification? I want to notify something here. What's the notification type? Please enter the valid OTP. Let me go and keep here, or let me keep here invalid OTP, guys. Invalid OTP. Now what's the message type? Error. What is the notification type? Error. Close it and close the if condition. Simple. What I'm doing here is, if whatever the variable is holding the value, on select of this button, what happens? It is going to declare one variable, global var OTP. Into that variable it is holding some value. Whatever the value this variable is holding, and whatever the value you are going to enter here, these two values must and should be matched. If it is matching, navigate to the login screen. Otherwise, go and send one error message. Now see, just go and click on it. Now I'm going to send the let me enter the email here. Let me enter the email, Winky at the rate AB Trainings Hub. Now go and click on the send OTP. When I click on the send OTP, now it is going to send one OTP to me. Now see, just now I received another OTP. Now this is the OTP I want to enter. Now just copy the OTP, copy this OTP and go to the app, enter the OTP here. Now whatever the OTP I'm entering here and what is the variable is holding is the variable value. Both are matching or not? Yes. If both are matching, now when I go and click on this button, it will navigate to the login success screen. Now see, wantedly I'm not entering the valid email, guess. I'm entering what here? A wrong OTP. Wrong OTP I'm entering. When I click on the login button, now see, it is throwing what error? Invalid OTP. So what is the valid OTP means? The last number must and should be 4. So let me go and enter the last number is 4. Now when I go and click on this now, when I click on this login, now see, it is allowing me to where? You have been logged in successfully. Thanks for choosing AB training. So simple. Nothing is there, guys. In today's session, two logics. It's to only two logics. What are the two logics? Where is this screen? OTP login screen. Now see, whatever the email you are entering here, that email must and should be there in the data source. Now I want to check this, that whatever the email the user is entering, this email is exist in the data source or not. If it exists, then only I want to send the OTP. If the email doesn't exist, I don't want to send the OTP. So whatever the email I'm entering here, to check that email is there in the data source or not, on send OTP button, I'm declaring some variables here. One variable, OTP variable. Next, once the variable is declared, I'm going to check whatever the email I'm entering in the app, that email is there in the email column in registered students list. If it is there, then go and send the email to that email, whatever the user entering the emails. Otherwise, whatever the email the user is entering, that email does not exist, then go and send one notification. What's that notification? Error message. Please enter valid email. Next, if the user is entering the valid email, when I click on the send OTP, he is going to receive one OTP in the Outlook. Whatever the OTP the user is receiving, that OTP he need to go and enter here. Now whatever the OTP I'm entering here, I want to check whatever the OTP I send and whatever the OTP the user is entering here, if both are matching or not. So on select of this button, login button, what I'm doing here, whatever the variable holding the value OTP, that value need to match with the OTP I'm entering in the input control. If it is matching, if both are matching, then what I want to do, log into the app. Otherwise, go and send one error message. What's that error message? Invalid OTP. So this is what I'm doing here, guys. If I enter the valid OTP, it will allow us to log in. If you are not entering the invalid OTP, it will throw some error message. So this is what, how to go and create an OTP authentication screen. If the user is not able to, log into the app using username and passwords, then I want to allow the user to log in with the apps using OTP authentication. So if you go to the screens, let me go to the first screen. Now totally how many screens I'm using here? If you see, almost 8 screens I'm using. I think 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 8 screens I'm using. Along with these forms, 9 screens. Now see, when I go and click on play, when I click on get started, now when I go and click on the new student registration, I'm able to enter the new student registration details. Let me keep here myself, Pinky, mobile number, just some random mobile number, password, let me enter some random password. Just click on what? Sign up. When I click on the sign up, it is going to submit to the data sources. It's throwing error. I think username already exists. Now click on the sign up. Let me check why it is navigating. Let me go here. Let me select this button. Everything is fine. Sometimes Power Apps will play with us. Just refresh the app. Just refresh it. Click on override. Now play it. Click on get started. Click on new student registration. Let me enter here Finch, mobile number, some random mobile number. Email already exists. Scott. Let me keep here Finch 12345 @gmail.com. Next, username. Let me keep whatever it is. Let me enter some password. Click on the sign up button. Still network error patch. Why it is throwing this error? Select, go to the screen, sign up screen, select the form, registered students, just remove it. Submit form. Which form? Form 1 this is the form, right? Where is my form? Form 1 correct. Now the error is not displaying. Click on sign up. Just refresh it again. Everything is fine, guys. Sometimes It doesn't works properly. In the yesterday's class it worked, but now today's session it is not working. It will work, no problem, no worries. So once if I go and enter the student details, it will go and submit the data to where? Into the data sources. Once after submitting the data to the data sources, I want to allow the user to log into the app. If you want to log into the app, go and click on what? Existing student login. You can enter the username and password here. Once after entering the username and password, when I go and click on it, it will allow us to log in. Suppose think that if you forget the username or password, then how to log in? I want to allow the user to log into the app using OTP authentication. When I click on this login with OTP, it's going to the another screen where I can go and enter the email. When I enter the email, when I click on the send OTP, what this action is doing on select of this button, it will check whatever the email I'm entering here, this email is there in my data source or not. If that email is there in my data source, then go and send one notification, that is OTP, to that email. Once after sending the OTP, copy that OTP and enter the OTP here. Now whatever the OTP I'm entering here, if that OTP, whatever the OTP I'm entering here, this OTP and the OTP and the variable it is holding, too much. Just refresh it again. Just wait. It's not even opening the formulas we written. It's not showing the formulas even. This. Let me check. I'm able to see the formulas or not. Eh, we saved it, right? We haven't saved. Saved it, I think. Even reset button also not showing the data. Just close this one. Close this tab. Open it again. So maybe it is tucked in between. That's why we are not able to see anything there. Go to the apps. Go to the AB trainings. Let it open. Fine. Now it is I'm able to see now. Go and click on the login with OTP. Now when I click on this send OTP, now I'm writing some formula here. This is the formula I'm writing. So validate the OTP, validate that email. If it is exists, then only go and send the email. Otherwise, don't send it. Next, when I go to the login, here also I'm creating one function here. So I'm checking that whatever the variable the OTP is holding, that variable is equivalent to the OTP I'm entering here or not. If it is matching, then only go and allow the user to navigate to the login screen, that is log into the app. Otherwise, go and send the error message. So this is what how to go and log into the apps using OTP. Just only two functions, guys. This is one function. One of the function I'm using here. One is Office Outlook, and in yesterday's class I already discussed about this is empty function. And in today's session, I'm checking that whatever the OTP I'm entering here, that OTP is matching to the variable holding OTP. If it is matching, then allow the user to log into the app. Otherwise, go and send one error message notification to that user. This is what how to go and log into the apps using both the username and password. And if you forget the username and password, log in with OTPs. Fine. Let me stop here today.